Hey guys, what's up? We're back here with another college football preview, Boston College edition. So as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach 600 subscribers for the end of the summer. Like this video if you enjoy it. Comment all your thoughts and opinions down below as well. Make sure you put your Boston College preview, your prediction down below. And if you want to check out all of my previews, there will be a card up in the top right hand corner, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. So far I have Virginia Tech and Clemson out, and all throughout the summer there will be videos coming out at least once a week, so make sure that you are ready and check that out. So let's get started with today's preview of the Boston College Eagles. So they start their season off against, I would say, a pretty tough opponent, an improved Scarlet Knights team. This team is, well, it's very interesting, to say the least. Greg Schiano is the head coach, and he's really the only one that has had success at this program in quite some time, almost a couple of decades, and he's been the only successful head coach. He brought Rutgers to a bowl game last year. They finished, I think it's 5-8 technically, because they lost their bowl game against Wake Forest. But let me make sure of that. But the thing with this game is this. I think that Rutgers is really improving. And not only are they improving, but they are also adding some big pieces on the recruiting front. So there is a lot of momentum with this Rutgers team. So because of that, I think that even though Boston College is going to get probably a full year of Phil Jurkovec, I think that the Rutgers is a good enough team, and I think they're almost a better team in order to win this game. So, let's see here. Yes, I was right. Yeah, they went 5-8. Yep. Just because Texas A&M, I think, had to drop out of the bowl game. So, either way, point being is this. They lost that game, and I think they will lose this game. Heading into week 2, you have your first ACC matchup of the year, and it is at Lane Stadium against the Virginia Tech Hokies. I don't think that this is a good matchup whatsoever, and this statement alone, I think that Virginia Tech, with this game being at home and with it being early on in the year, the only way I could see Boston College winning this game is the lack of experience from the Virginia Tech Hokies. I think because of their lack of experience, I could maybe see a win here for the Boston College Eagles. But my personal opinion is that Virginia Tech has a generally better team, and with the losses of guys like Zay Flowers and Zion Johnson and Tyler Vrabel, I think you could see a decline in a Boston College offensive line and Boston College run game and stuff like that, which I think could be effective in what happens in this game. So I think that the Eagles will lose this game here. Then they play the Maine Black Bears. Well, if you lose this game, there are not only issues, you're probably getting fired as the head coach there. So I have a W there for the Eagles. So then you head to the Doak to play the Florida State Seminoles. I have this as a loss. The reason why I have it as a loss is because the Boston College Eagles, even though they have some good pieces throughout it, and the biggest piece being Phil Jurkovec as your quarterback returning, maybe could be an improved player. But the biggest thing here with my perspective is that Mike Norvell is also on the hot seat to a degree, more than the Boston Eagles. But so here's my thing with this. I think that Florida State has a little bit more talent. It's at their home stadium. It's in September. It's going to be a lot tougher matchup than if this game was in November, December at Boston College, at Chestnut Hill. That's a lot easier of a matchup rather than playing the heat. It's the exact opposite of what you've been practicing and stuff like that. So I think that this game is going to advantage the Seminoles, so I have them taking this game as well. Then you head home to play the Louisville Cardinals, and like I said for last game, I think this is pretty evenly matched teams, but because this game is at Boston College, I have the Eagles winning this matchup, mostly due to the fact that I think Boston College will be able to get a couple wins here or there, and I think that this is one of the places they get it, starting their season off 2-3. But I think you're going to get another loss here as your homecoming game is against the Clemson Tigers. That's not a good situation there. Clemson is obviously a very good team in the ACC, but the problem I have for the Eagles is even though they played them close last year without Phil Jakovic, the Clemson defense should be better than it was last year just because of less injuries. But then the other thing is that Clemson, I wouldn't expect them to be as bad as they were in the wide receiver department, quarterback department. They were fine in the running game. But the problem I see is I think Boston College got worse with the losses at offensive line and at running back rather than the Clemson team that improved a little bit on defense and should improve a little bit on offense. So I think that Clemson will win that game a little bit more handily than they did last time. But do watch out for an upset alert, as Clemson could struggle throughout the season the same as they did last year, and I could see a possible struggle. Then you have a bye week, and then you play at Wake Forest. The problem with the bye week is that then you are traveling straight to Wake Forest. That is one of the toughest teams in the ACC with their returning quarterback in Sam Hartman. The problem I see for the Eagles here is that the Demon Deacons are just a lot better. The Demon Deacons have an elite passing offense that utilizes Sam Hartman's arm talent and to be able to pass the ball 40, 50 yards down the field with no problem. The only thing that I see here is that Wake Forest needs to improve its defense if it wants a shot to truly compete for an ACC title game. If they're going to do that, they're going to have to get better on defense. But in the Boston College scenario, they should be fine to just score a bunch of points because even though Boston College may be able to keep up for 2 or 3 quarters, I do not see them keeping it up for the full game. Then you head back home-ish to play UConn. That's a W. UConn is just really bad at football. They're really bad at football. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Talking about another bad team at football, you head directly home to play the Duke Blue Devils. Duke is really bad. I do think the Mike Elko hire is the right hire just because he kind of fits into the system. He's a Notre Dame defensive coordinator, Texas A&M defensive coordinator. Both schools are pretty highly regarded in education. Obviously, Duke is the best out of those 3, then Notre Dame and then Texas A&M. But I think that this could be a big surprise. Maybe in a couple years down the line, 3-4 years down the line, maybe Elko wins 6-7 games at Duke and surprise some people. But not this year. I don't think he has the talent or the ability to do that after David Cutcliffe was let go. Then you head to Carter Finley Stadium to play the NC State Wolfpack. I think that this is also a loss. The problem with this game, personally for me, is that NC State that Boston College lacks the ability to keep up with NC State both on the offense and defensive ends. I think that NC State is the most complete team in the conference right now. I think they have great offensive weapons with a great quarterback in Devin Leary. I think that their defense is pretty good with a lot of returning starters, and I think that they're just simply the most complete team in the ACC and could really compete for an ACC title with Wake Forest and NC State, like I said, and Clemson all being in one division, same as Boston College. But I think those 3 teams are the ones that are competing for the title. Or not the title, but I guess the Atlantic Division Championship. But I think whoever wins that division will win the ACC. Point being, heading on to the next game, you head to Notre Dame Stadium to play the Irish of Notre Dame. This is a loss here. I don't see the Boston College being able to compete later in the year. If this game was week 3 or 4, it would be a very interesting matchup. But later on in the season, I expect Marcus Freeman to batten down the hatches. And with a loss, I expect a loss at Ohio State. But then then a win against Clemson, ending the year with 11 straight wins is what I think will happen. So, don't want to preview too much of my Notre Dame preview, but I think that this is a big game for Notre Dame, continuing a streak into maybe getting a New Year's Six bowl bid or possibly a playoff bid if it is as crazy as last year. Then you wrap up the year with a big statement win, even though you are out of bowl eligibility. I think that with this 5th win of the season, even though you had 7 losses, I think you can make a big statement here against Syracuse. I just don't expect Syracuse to be a good team. Those who do think that Syracuse is going to be a good team, I think are just missing the full picture. Yes, Mel Tucker is a good running back, and I think could get them 150 yards. He reminds me a lot of the Boston College run A.J. Dillon. Just taking a lot of carries, taking a lot of punishment. Problem is, they didn't win much more than 4, 5, 6 games, and I kind of see the same scenario for Syracuse, and even probably worse, just because I don't think Dino Babers is a great head coach. So that wraps up today's preview. As always, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, hit the 2 videos right here, or you can hit the subscribe button right up here. As always, have a great day. Bye.